Now everyone's saying it. If you drive less, you pay less for car insurance. But how much less? A tad less. A smidge less. Around 20%-ish less? Or a whole lot less? Like 70% less for comprehensive car insurance from South Africa's hottest pay-per-K insurer. Chili from King Price. We're big into less. Like 70% less. Visit kingprice.co.za for a quote.
Hi and welcome everybody to Let's Talk Automotive. I'm Vish.
And I'm Peter, and we are here at BB Menlyn Mahindra
Well done.
for the review of the S6.
4x4 manual. There was a bit of confusion between the single cab, double cab, so errors and omissions excluded please on the pricing that we may mention, but we do know.
So the single cab 4x4 starts at 361. At 3.
You see,
here we go.
you also got it.
At 320, round about there.
Yes.
And the double cab that we're going to be reviewing now is 361 500.
Correct. Well, 361 499. Let's make it an Indian price. It's an Indian brand.
Okay, so Vish, we're going to start off at the engine bay, and I'm going to open a bonnet quickly and show you something.
Pop the hood, darling.
Okay, now look at this.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, I love that. That makes it
Hydraulics.
so much easier. But have you noticed something else? And that is when we pop the hood,
The
hazards came on automatically.
Which is quite clever, considering if you're in an emergency, actually it helps.
Yeah, people forget.
Definitely.
So Vish, this is a basic S6 model, which means that there are a lot of optional extras. Maybe you want to just take us through some of them?
Yeah, I think an important one, of course, are the rims.
Yep.
Alloy rims. These rock sliders are standard. We've got the flared arch fender, which is also an option. A thicker roll bar, rubberizing, and a tow bar.
All right. So those are the optional extras. I want to show you something cool though when it comes to the fuel lid. So to open it, you just press the unlock button on the key fob. Boom.
That's pretty nifty. At least it'll keep you occupied on Sunday afternoons.
Okay, so Vish, you're quite a tall lad with long legs, but you seem to be sitting quite comfortably in the cabin.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I've got a good field of view. It's a solid fit. I think I could drive this for a decent amount of time with not much discomfort. The bolstering and stuff is soft and compliant. We've got quite a few features on the inside, which is, above average for this level of car. We've got cruise control. We've got a start-stop option. We've got adjustable lights. We've got electric wing mirrors. We've got a USB access port, RCA jack, 12-volt charger, and we've got Bluetooth. So generally, we've got the majority of what one would need.
Great.
It's also electronically controlled 4 high, 4 low, and 2 high functionalities.
Okay, so that's the front of the cabin. Let's have a look at the passenger compartment at the rear.
With me driving, so
you've set it for your driving position. What do you think about the rear space?
it looks small.
It does initially look small, but I've got to say that what we haven't factored in is just how long this bench is. So looks can be deceiving. I'm going to hop in here and take the opportunity to sit here, and actually there's plenty of space and a lot of headroom at the rear, which is unusual. In fact, there's so much headroom at the rear that this is where they've fitted the speakers.
Peter, welcome to our economy class 4x4 trail today. Thank you for joining me, although I actually didn't want to come for this. I was like, oh goodness, one of this wannabe 4x4s. Okay,
Yeah, I
smiling.
must admit when Fani phoned us and said, listen, we've got the Mahindra for review, I was already starting to make excuses as to why,
It was like
why I
Saturday
couldn't come
morning.
Saturday, I got to take the kids somewhere.
Can't get up. One of those things. But I must say, first impressions, we're here.
Wow.
It's not as bad as I thought.
In fact, it's better than that. I think there's really much more than meets the eye with this. So I've got a reference point, you've got a reference point. I drive a entry-level Chinese bakkie, you drive a not so much entry-level American bakkie. So there's the two ends of the scale. So I think it'll be quite an interesting discussion to have with you. But I can tell you immediately, just to some of the things that have already struck me is, first of all, this feels nice and big and solid. The steering wheel feels fantastic. It's nice and quiet.
Yes,
It's
actually
comfortable,
quiet.
actually. It's a very comfortable vehicle.
And I've got to take my accountant's hat here and go, there's not much you could get that could offer this. So do you sit at a point where a farmer's going to go, whoa, I don't know what my crops are doing, I don't know what the rain's going to be like, I can't afford a more expensive bakkie, I take a chance on this? A lot of these brands like Haval, when we reviewed it, it impressed us because it had so much more versus what we had thought it would have. Coming back to this, there's a ruggedness to this that actually feels 4x4.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll probably get a fleet vehicle at some stage. I'd like to actually take one off-road. And you know, we've got a good test plan where we take a high-end bakkie plus 2 4x4s in this range and we put them against each other.
Yep.
But your impressions from your side, because I'm trying to come off the, you know, I had one of the Hiluxes as a long-termer over December and I got absolutely attached to it.
But at what price?
Well, what they've done, but that's a discussion I think for another time. With coming back to the Mahindra, this engine is 103 kilowatt, 2.2 turbo diesel, 350 newton meters of torque. It's got a towing capacity of a tad over 2 tons. So it ticks all the theoretical boxes. How do you feel about just its general drivability?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, we quite easily got up to 120, which is the kind of speed that I drive a bakkie around at in any case. And it held it well, felt nice and strong. You can feel the torque coming through,
Yes.
There's no doubt about that.
So Peter, here now, okay, so I'm in the driver's seat. It's good to know that I can still drive manual at some point in time. It's smooth, easy, clutch is light. That's impressive. I just find immediately that it's a hard ride, and just on normal roads.
So that's comparing to your bakkie.
No. I'm comparing general. Remember, I went from Hilux to Ford to there's a few.
Okay.
So just as a even looking at the Jeep Wrangler,
Okay.
our favorite sound system vehicle.
So I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I don't know if it's rough or sturdy. You know, because if I look at my bakkie that I'm driving, that you feel every bump. This feels nice and it just feels solid.
Okay, but I think perhaps maybe there's a discussion, or at some point we need to, when we take one of these off-road, because then you'd actually see whether the rigidity is a byproduct of its off-road capability, or it's just not a good suspension package for road. It's built for off-road use primarily.
And maybe not only looking at it from an off-road point of view, but from a utility point of view.
Yes.
This bakkie, especially if you have a look at the bin, is designed to carry heavy loads. So once you have a heavy load, and things are going to soften up for you.
Yeah.
In terms of the suspension.
Yes, yeah, of course. It's an easy ride though, that I can say.
Yeah.
And again, I come back to the price tag, because, I mean, you know, my bike standing there costs more than this.
No, true.
So if we put that into perspective, you know, it's a lot of, it's good value for money for this segment.
So what is this going to be used for? And
Can you use it every day?
Remember, nothing can please all the people all the time. So there's a very specific segment that this vehicle is targeting.
Well, it's like relationships, right? You have to take the best slice of all the pies and take that and use that as your baseline, because you're not going to get 100% pie.
No, for sure. So for me, this is a proper utility vehicle that is designed to be a workhorse, but that still provides a sense of comfort, a sense of drivability.
Continuity.
It's not a rock crawler 4x4 adventure bakkie. This is a workhorse, and the number one usage of it happens to be with the farmers at this stage. We've looked at the car interior-wise. We've taken it on the road for a test drive. What are your overall impressions?
You know, when you have very low expectations, you can't be disappointed. So for me, it's much better than I expected, but I wasn't expecting much. So that's my initial impressions. It's good value for money. It's got a lot of features. It's got good fuel economy. It's a hard ride from my side. And space there is, but it's applicable depending on the size of your audience.
Okay, so I agree with you in terms of I didn't have any expectations about the vehicle. But having said that, I think we've also got to be very clear about where this vehicle operates. What segment is it playing in? And I think for the segment that it's playing in, this vehicle's got a lot to offer compared to some of its
Agreed,
competitors.
100%, yes. And I'm just, for me, it's just from spoiled brat syndrome
Absolutely.
that I'm reviewing it.
Absolutely.
So you are far more conducive to the reality out there.
All right, so I'm in this market in terms of a bakkie, in terms of where I want to use it. So let's give our own individual ratings from 1 to 10 on the Mahindra.
Cool. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 because I know we've got other vehicles within this category that we're going to review. My score might change once we go to the website, but for now, it's a 50% for me.
All right. For me, the proof is in the pudding. I've been very pleasantly surprised with the detail that's gone into the design, and also the fact that this has developed quite a legendary status amongst its customers very, very quickly. And we are starting to find some repeat customers coming back on the Mahindra. And for that, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Well done.
So there you have it. There's our review on the Mahindra S6. And until next week, we will see you on Let's Talk Automotive.